So I want you to imagine just for a second that you write a track and it goes genuinely viral.
Oh, the absolute dream scenario.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. You hit 1 million streams. 1 million actual human beings are out there like listening to your art on this massive tech platform.
Yeah.
So you check your dashboard, waiting for that life-changing payout to drop, and, well, the reality sets in. It barely covers a month's rent.
If you're lucky.
Right. And that is the grueling reality of the modern music industry today. I mean, it's basically this invisible gladiator arena.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, where independent artists are just pouring their savings into fighting these recommendation algorithms. And the reward for actually winning that fight, it's literally fractions of a penny.
It is incredibly bleak. Honestly, the landscape has just never been more skewed against the creator.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, the digital tools to produce music are literally everywhere now, right? Which is great. It wonderfully lowers the barrier to entry.
Anybody can make a track in their bedroom.
Exactly. But the barrier to sustainable monetization, that is almost insurmountable under the traditional model. Creators are completely alienated from the actual financial value that they generate for the platforms hosting them.
Which is actually the perfect jumping off point for our deep dive today. We are looking into an operation called Melanated Music Group, or 2MG for short.
Yeah, a really fascinating organization.
It really is. So we've pulled together this great stack of sources for this. We're looking at their internal About Us page, the featured artists' web pages, and a really raw, high-energy transcript from their weekly YouTube live stream, which is called Tracks of the Week.
Right.
And our mission here, essentially, is to figure out how 2MG is attempting to bridge advanced technology, raw human creativity, and local business.
Right, to build an entirely new blueprint.
Exactly, a community-driven economic blueprint for independent creators.
Yeah, and looking through these sources, I think the first crucial piece of context we need to establish is that 2MG they aren't functioning like a traditional record label.
Not at all.
Right. You won't find them trying to own an artist's master recordings or, dictating their sound to fit some specific demographic. What we're really looking at here is an ecosystem.
Okay, unpack that a little bit. What do you mean by ecosystem?
Well, it's a specialized platform for promotion, marketing, and monetization. It's designed entirely around pushing the artist to operate as a self-sustaining, independent brand, rather than an employee of a label.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the mission statement only goes so far, right? To understand what's actually happening here, we have to look at the underlying mechanics. How does this platform make money, and how does it pay its artists? And looking at their structure, it feels less like a Spotify and more like, I don't know, a digital farmer's market.
Oh, that is a really accurate way to frame the economics, actually. So think about the major streaming platforms as these massive impersonal supermarkets.
Okay.
In that supermarket model, millions of songs are just thrown into one giant bin. And the listener pays a flat subscription fee, right?
Like $10 a month or whatever.
Exactly. And all that money goes into a massive corporate pool. Then the platform divides that pool based on total market share.
So wait, if I only listen to like a local indie jazz artist all month long, my $10 doesn't just go to them?
Nope. Your subscription money is primarily distributed to the top pop stars who dominate the overall global stream count.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pro rata model. The indie artists in that supermarket, they don't own the customer relationship at all, and they literally only see pennies from that giant pool.
So 2MG is essentially building individual stalls for these creators to just, well, bypass that supermarket entirely.
Exactly. They are circumventing that pooled model. By allowing artists to sell directly to their consumers, the artist basically stands at their own digital stall, hands you the music, and keeps the revenue.
That makes so much sense. So let me list out some of the specific terms they offer on the site, because they stand in really sharp contrast to the industry norm.
Oh, definitely.
So 2MG offers high royalties, low platform subscription costs that artists can cancel absolutely anytime, and they use these QR codes that link directly to the creator's personalized page.
Right.
But two things immediately jumped out at me from the sources. One, artists set the price of their own music. And two, 2MG guarantees biweekly payouts.
Yeah.
In fact, they use those biweekly payouts as a massive recruiting pitch.
And they should, because those aren't just, administrative perks. Those are the core mechanics of survival for an independent business.
I really want to dig into the mechanics of that, because on the surface, to the average person, getting paid every 2 weeks just sounds like a standard corporate job.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't sound revolutionary.
But if you are listening to this and you've ever tried to launch a side hustle or a freelance business or a startup, you know that cash flow is the silent killer.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you could have a highly profitable month on paper, but if you have to wait 60 to 90 days for an invoice to clear,
You can't pay your immediate expenses.
exactly, your business stalls out.
Yeah.
And the traditional music industry operates on these massive delays. An artist might get a huge spike in streams in January, but they won't see a single dime of that money until, like, April or May.
Right.
And because of that pooled supermarket system we talked about, they don't even know exactly how much that check will be when it finally arrives.
You can't plan a life around that, let alone, a marketing budget around a mystery check that arrives 4 months late.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So by giving the artist price autonomy and paying out every 2 weeks, 2MG transforms these unpredictable vanity metrics into actual manageable cash flow.
Right.
It creates what we call a flywheel effect.
Right.
If an artist makes direct sales this week, they get that money next week. They can immediately take that cash, reinvest it into targeted digital ads, or buy better studio equipment.
Or just pay their rent so they can stay alive and keep making music.
Exactly. Velocity of capital is everything, and 2MG is drastically speeding it up.
That is huge. But there's another detail in their About Us section that feels like a massive pivot. 2MG explicitly states that they support creators using AI music production right alongside traditional methods.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I was totally expecting an independent, artist-first platform to be strictly purist, Usually independent creators treat AI as this sort of existential threat to real musicianship.
That reaction is incredibly common across the industry right now. But 2MG seems to recognize a fundamental shift in the technological landscape here.
How so?
Well, AI drastically lowers the barrier to creation. Anyone can generate a beat now with a text prompt. But as we just discussed, the real crisis for musicians isn't creation, is it? It's monetization.
Wow, right. The creation part is easy now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So by welcoming AI tools, 2MG is acknowledging that the value of an artist moving forward isn't just in the technical, mechanical assembly of the track.
It's the vibe.
It's the brand, the community they build, and their curation. They're removing the gatekeeping around how the house is built, and they're focusing entirely on helping the creator actually sell it.
Okay, but a business model is just, math on a page until you hear what it actually produces. How does the music change when an artist isn't starving or waiting for a delayed streaming check or fighting an algorithm?
Right, you get a completely different sound.
We really have to look at the culture this structure cultivates, which brings us to their live stream.
The Tracks of the Week broadcast.
Yes, hosted by Zach Black. So he broadcasts on Twitch on Fridays and TikTok on Thursdays. And let me tell you, his energy as a host is just infectious.
He really goes all in.
He is constantly hyping up these artists. But the music itself, it is incredibly heavy. I was reading through the transcripts of the lyrics, and the vulnerability is just striking.
The contrast between the rigid financial architecture we just analyzed and the emotional fluidity of the art itself is probably one of the most fascinating aspects of these sources.
Let me give you some examples of what Zach is actually putting on the airwaves here. So he plays a track by Queen Sasha called Dear Younger Me.
Right.
And this isn't some club anthem. It is a deep dive into overcoming severe self-doubt. The lyrics explicitly talk about embracing a, quote, milk chocolate glow, learning to love your natural body shape, and accepting every single physical and emotional scar.
It's very raw.
It's entirely about surviving your own internal pressure. Then he features an artist named Dose with a song called You Got This. And again, it completely bypasses the typical superficial pop romance.
Yeah, it's not your standard love song.
No, it's this deeply supportive track about holding a partner through genuine pain, fixing their heartbreak, and staying with them through the fire.
And that level of raw therapeutic support really seems to bleed across multiple genres on the platform, whether they're playing R&B, jazz, or Afrobeat.
Totally. There's this spoken word piece by SMH called Falling in Love with Me. She talks about finding perfection in her big thighs, being uniquely created, and I love this line, refusing to be a duplicated boot and tree of another human being.
It's a complete rejection of cookie-cutter industry standards.
Exactly. And then there's Miss the Empress with a track called I Know, which is this brutal, heart-wrenching song about the pain of loving another woman's man. Zach Black literally warns the audience before he plays it. He claims the song is going to make your eyeballs sweat.
He really sets the stage for that emotional impact.
He also shouts out artists like Miss Jazzy Joyce, who performs as Memoirs of a Shy Girl. So looking at these deeply emotional themes, trauma, self-image, infidelity, Makes me wonder, does a platform like 2MG specifically scout for artists with this therapeutic, heavy vibe? Or is something else driving this sound?
I'd argue it is the direct result of removing the algorithm.
Really?
Yeah.
Just from changing the tech?
Think about how music is consumed on mainstream platforms. Massive tech companies optimize for what's called passive listening. They want a song that can play in the background of a coffee shop or on a focus playlist while you're studying without startling you into changing the station.
Right, they just want background noise.
Exactly, unobtrusive music. So when an artist is signed to a corporate label, there is immense pressure to produce that kind of generic, algorithm-friendly pop. The edges of the human experience get completely sanded off to maximize background playability.
So you literally become the duplicated copy that SMH was talking about in her spoken word piece.
Precisely. But what happens when you remove that corporate pressure? When an artist is setting their own price, earning direct bi-weekly revenue, and relying on active fans rather than passive background listeners.
They don't have to sand off the edges anymore.
Exactly. They have the financial safety to create highly authentic art. The recurring themes of self-love, healing, and unapologetic identity across 2MG are just the natural byproduct of that autonomy.
That makes a lot of sense.
The platform structure actually incentivizes the artist to shed their mask because authenticity is exactly what drives direct-to-consumer sales.
Okay, so we have this ecosystem that financially rewards emotional authenticity. I follow that, but I have to stop you there because as I was reading through the transcript of Zach Black's live stream, I hit an absolute wall.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. In the middle of playing this intense, soulful R&B and hip-hop on a Friday night, Zach just starts reading sponsorships. And the strategy here is, frankly, genuinely confusing.
The local business integrations.
Yes, because if you're watching a Twitch stream, the host is typically pitching, energy drinks, gaming headsets, maybe a VPN service, products that fit the digital demographic.
It's our standard tech ads.
Right. So Zach shouts out Silver Fox Luxury, promising they'll dress you from head to toe, coordinate your bags, and apply smell good cologne. Which, okay, fashion makes sense for a music crowd.
Definitely.
But then he pivots to CH Business Solutions out of Montgomery, Alabama, and he starts pitching notary services, CDO, and credit repair.
Quite the pivot.
Right. And immediately after that, he launches into this passionate read for Lady G Insurance, asking the audience if they have life insurance set up to cover funeral expenses, mortgages, and debt.
Yeah.
Pitching life insurance and credit repair in the middle of a Friday night music live stream sounds like an absolute vibe killer. I mean, people tune into entertainment to escape their reality, not to be reminded about their credit scores and eventual funeral costs. Doesn't this completely alienate the audience?
Well, it would alienate an audience if the goal was just passive entertainment. But this raises probably the most important question about the sources.
Yeah.
What is 2MG actually trying to build?
Okay.
The answer is that they aren't just selling music. They are attempting to foster a holistic, wealth-building community.
But how does reminding a fan about their debt build a community?
Well, think about the traditional relationship between a massive media platform and its users.
Okay.
The platform views the listener merely as a metric to be monetized, right?
Yeah, eyeballs and eardrums.
Yeah. They capture your attention, and they sell it to a multinational corporation, like the energy drink company you mentioned, which then extracts that money out of your community entirely.
Right, the money leaves the neighborhood.
Exactly. 2MG is flipping that script through community commerce. Zach Black actually says during the insurance pitch that it's, quote, all about peace of mind, not fear.
Yeah, he talks about preventing financial stress for the families left behind.
Right. By integrating local businesses like CH Business Solutions for credit repair, alongside the music, the ebooks, and the merch, 2MG is speaking to an audience that has historically been locked out of institutional wealth. They are actively promoting financial literacy and stability for both the creators and the fans.
Oh, wow. It's a deeply symbiotic relationship.
It really is.
The connection actually starts to make sense if you view the artist and the listener as a single unit. Because if an independent artist utilizes that credit repair service, they can finally secure a small business loan to, upgrade their recording equipment or fund a tour.
Yes. And on the flip side, if a fan has their family's financial future secured with life insurance and they've repaired their credit, they suddenly have the disposable income necessary to support independent art.
Right. They can afford to actually buy the music directly from the artist's digital stall instead of just streaming it for free.
Exactly. The money isn't leaving the ecosystem.
It just stays right there.
2MG is attempting to create a circular local economy, but they're scaling it digitally. The revenue isn't being siphoned off to a corporate headquarters in another state or country. It is circulating.
It's all connected.
Right. The fan pays the artist takes their biweekly payout and buys a suit from Silver Fox Luxury. The tailor at Silver Fox buys life insurance from Lady G, and Lady G buys the artist's new album. It is highly localized economic theory applied directly to a digital network.
That level of integration makes the corporate structure behind all this make a lot more sense, actually. Because the copyright information across the site points to D-Bank's designs, which seems to serve as the overarching umbrella coordinating these different branches.
Right. It requires a very deliberate, multifaceted organization to manage the music distribution, the tech integration, and the local business partnerships simultaneously. It's not just a website.
Let's synthesize everything we've uncovered from this source material today. Melanated Music Group, under this D-Bank's Designs umbrella, is essentially functioning as an incubator for a completely new kind of creative class.
Yeah.
They're embracing the inevitable future of AI music production while actively solving the monetization crisis by letting artists set their own prices and collect bi-weekly payouts. And rather than extracting value from their listeners, they're embedding local businesses, from credit repair to life insurance, directly into their marketing to build a self-sustaining, financially literate community.
It's a blueprint for autonomy. It treats the artist as a business and the fan as a neighbor, rather than treating both as just, data points.
And it all culminates in real grassroots interaction. At the end of the Friday live stream, Zach Black invites the audience to a karaoke barbecue at 8 p.m. Eastern on the Fanbase app.
Right.
He makes a point to tell the fans that the artist they just listened to will probably be hanging out right there in the room with them. You simply cannot get that level of direct human connection in the massive supermarket aisles of mainstream streaming platforms.
No, you really can't. Which I think leaves us with a pretty provocative thought to consider.
Yeah.
As massive tech conglomerates increasingly monopolize our digital lives, using these opaque passive listening algorithms to dictate what art we consume and what products we buy, we really have to question the viability of that model long term. Could highly localized cross-promotional micro-platforms like 2MG, where the independent artist, the local insurance agent, and the fan are all sustaining each other in the same digital chat room, could that actually be the most resilient future for the creator economy?
Man, if you look back at that bleak gladiator arena we started with, the pure exhaustion of fighting an algorithm for fractions of a penny 2MG is proving that you don't actually have to play that game. You don't have to fight for shelf space in a supermarket if you know how to build your own community. And that is definitely a perspective worth taking with you.